I keep hearing all this talk about Proposition 50 like it's the fight of our life. I'm a black man born and raised in the state of California, and I have something I'd like to ask. What are we fighting for exactly? If the redistricting and rezoning and all this stuff that they're going to do with the gerrymandering type behavior changes all these congressional lines, but it doesn't change the conditions that we live in, then I think I'll stay at home and sit this one out.
The California special election is right around the corner. Proposition 50 could reshape the balance of power in Congress. If Prop 50 passes, it would redraw state congressional districts, potentially shifting 5 seats from Republicans to Democrats. Here is a look at the current map showing the results of the 2024 election. You can see the red districts are mainly in the Central Valley and parts of Northern and Southern California. But watch what happens when we change to the map that is the proposed redrawn congressional district. You can see that most of Northern California turns blue with only a few Republican strongholds to the south. So how was this redistricting map decided? Lauren Toms explains.
Under Prop 50, California's congressional maps could shift the balance of power not only felt in Washington, but on the ground in counties across the state. And Sonoma state political expert David McEwen says to look to the north to understand the stakes.
You have to win and pick up a couple of seats in the north to then make it possible to draw an inside straight for the south and the Central Valley.
They just talk about it like it's a game. I don't see anywhere in this entire segment where they're talking about what the people who are going to help them win are going to get, like the black people. The black people are in key places and have districts and lines drawn around them and to them so they can either help or not help. They're strategically being talked about on both sides. And I feel with that being the truth, then they need to be talking to them about, hey, what can we do for you? You're about to help us possibly win a majority. And if we should win, we want to make sure we go in there with some damn instructions from you people for your support and for your help. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And it doesn't look like we're going to press them. We're so caught up in this Trump hatred that we forget to love ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves first, and then we can take care of Trump. But we won't have to. In 3 years or less, he's gone. And they're going to have someone else take over that Republican Party, but it doesn't change our lives. These districts that they're drawing, we're still living next door to the same people we were living next for. You don't get to move. They're moving all kind of things around to their benefit, but what do we get to change? What's going to change for us? And what are we going to get for our support? That's the bottom line.
Inside Straight is the heart of Prop 50, a mid-decade map redraw designed to help Democrats gain 5 new congressional seats in a state where maps usually change only once a decade. But the map isn't as new as it looks or feels.
This is not something that the creators of Prop 50 kind of came up with on their own. This is actually a map that the commission was looking at the end of the 2021 process.
Well, then, if the Democrats have any integrity and it's something that the commission has been looking at and it's something that the commission does, your response to a person who you accuse of being like the lowest of the low, and the only response you have is to respond in kind. If they hit us in the kneecaps, we're going to hit them right below the kneecap. I mean, we can't participate with a party who responds that way to bad play, bad actors, cheating in some cases maybe. But I think Trump is testing his powers. He's pushing it out there as far as it'll go. And the Democrats are right to fight and to resist and to do the things that they're doing, to rein him in or take power away from him and regain it for yourselves. But the only place that they fall short is when they deal with black people. They go in everyone else's community and ask for votes appropriately. I've never seen an Asian on stage twerking for the Democratic Party. I've never seen a white person get on stage and start talking about their ethnic cooking with the candidate. They're talking about things that are going to improve their lives. And we get on stage and they treat us like we're adult children. What do we like? Hot sauce, and what's the newest dance, and everyone in the black community don't like hip hop. Everybody in the black community we're not a monolith. We are different in a lot of ways. That's probably why we can't all get on the same page and take the easy steps forward that are there for us. We continue to get caught up in other people's vision for us. And the vision that they have for us is not good. The vision they have for us is taught to our children in the public school system. And if people say, I know the truth and I know what's real, you don't. Because if somebody in a bar is playing some kind of trivia game and they say, who discovered America? Everybody in the bar is going to yell, Christopher Columbus. Not one person. And if someone else does yell someone other than Christopher Columbus, like the millions of people who were here before him, they're going to be looked at. People are going to be like, what is he talking about? This dude is stupid. Columbus. And then it gets down to the argument of what did Columbus discover? Was the people who were here primitive and savage and, didn't understand how to walk upright until Columbus came along? It's just really sad that people don't care very much more for other people than they did way back then. And you think that the value of your fellow man would increase with your information and your knowledge and your understanding. But it doesn't. So I feel suppression, I feel rejection, and I feel like black people are being held in a place just to serve as political help when the Democrats need it, which is every election. Every election, the democracy cannot be being threatened. If Trump was firing missiles and starting wars without Congress, no one in Congress in that majority is complaining. That's why you have to win the majority so you can justifiably complain. Of course you're going to complain if you're in the minority. Of course you're going to complain if you lost. But we need you to be in the majority if you're going to be doing this kind of complaining. And we don't want to be party to this win that you anticipate in 2026 and potentially 2028 with nothing to show for it. Yay, we won. Again.
Redistricting expert Paul Mitchell says many of these lines from Southern California up to the North Coast were first considered by the state's independent redistricting commission back in 2021. The difference this time, a clear political intent to move just enough Democrats into Republican-leaning districts to offset Republican gains in Texas.
What she just said is to move just enough Democrats into a Republican area to offset and what they did in Texas. Do we know if these group of Democrats that they plan on moving into a red district are black? Is the Democratic Party participating in anything like that? Would they? Yes, of course they would. They want to win right now. And if they take your vote and throw it in the gutter just to offset some bullshit, but it doesn't benefit you, it doesn't help you in your little world and what you're trying to get done, they get in there and they're going to lose the Senate again. They're going to lose the House again. They're going to lose the presidency again. This shit is never going to stop. And that's the way governments go. I get it. But they have to find a period to the end of this sentence of poverty and being in prison and being overlooked and treated wrong and treated bad and in the top percentage of everything bad and in the bottom percentage of everything good. It gets old and we need to move beyond it.
Kind of the starting point for the California maps, being a nonpartisan map, made it a lot easier to achieve these gains for Democrats without disrupting the majority of the state's districts.
But Republicans call it a power grab. Congressman Kevin Kiley says under the proposed map, his district would be split 6 ways.
A lot of people will not be able to vote for the person who represents them now because your district will be shattered into different pieces. And so if you like your representative, you don't like your representative, you may lose the right to vote for them or against them.
Damn. It'd be kind of upsetting to the Democrats if some of these people who they sacrificed, pushed out there just to offset a vote or lose intentionally or whatever the hell they're trying to do, and they get better treatment. And their new representative seems to be more understanding, or at least more engaged, and no more understanding than that Democratic representative, but trying to at least listen to what you're telling them. It's okay to be the leader or the boss and not understand everything that's going on underneath, but you got to at least have something special about you where you're willing to ask and willing to do something. No Gavin Newsom games where you start studies that you veto. You have no plan on ever giving one nickel in reparations out. But a genuine good guy who's really out there trying to do the right thing. It's very difficult to find. And we have no one who is a true ally of ours. We have this black coalition called the Congressional Black Caucus that needs to all resign simultaneously. They need to get in front of a mic, hold a press conference, and not that they're giving up and not that they're doing anything bad or wrong, but just point their finger back at that Congress and say, are you fucking kidding me? After all that this country has been through, and after all that we have been through as a part of this country, and you guys aren't willing to take any steps to get us right. You guys are willing to allow this and blame it on the Democrats that you go, well, they won't vote for it. We can get these staunch Democrats who are willing to go down with us, but they know it's enough of them who will never vote in any way that's going to benefit us or help us. And that's a very sad thing when we are voting in their best interest and it's affecting our lives being stalled and interrupted and not progressing. And it's just business as usual for them. It's not personal. It's just something that they do to gain power so that they can take care of their friends and their constituents and their loved ones and people who look like them and whatever else it is. But whatever it is they're taking care of, it ain't us.
Kiley warns that sidestepping the state's independent process approved by voters to prevent gerrymandering will weaken trust in mixed communities that share little in common, linking solidly blue Marin County to Trump-supporting areas near the Oregon border, all under one representative.
Suddenly you have a representative who also represents very different communities that have maybe an entirely different set of interests. And so people are going to be left in many cases without any sense that they have their own representative in Congress. They're advocating for them and fighting for them.
And as McEwen teaches that every map tells a story, this one shows how politics, power, and place collide.
These are very divergent and different communities that do not see the world the same way and reflect, I think, the diversity of California and its political interests.
Now, meanwhile, North Carolina's Senate has approved a new congressional map aimed at helping Republicans gain an additional GOP seat in the House. It comes a day after lawmakers formally opened debate on that map. The new district lines would give Republicans 11 out of the 14 House seats from North Carolina. They currently control 10 seats under last year's election map. The North Carolina House is expected to vote tomorrow.
There's just going to be nothing but a bunch of games from here on out. Whatever they do, we're going to show them we can do it better. We're going to be stooped to whatever it is Trump, and then we can still talk about him and talk about him being immoral, but we can still fight with the same tactics. That's not the way it goes. I don't care how you feel about eye for eye or any of that kind of stuff. If you know that you are totally ignoring a big part of your party and the reason that you won in some cases, just to get this guy, just to win. And everything that, in all honesty, that he's doing right now, you've all done it to him. They impeached him, knowing how impeachments go. Bill Clinton was impeached. But as long as you're impeached when you're in power and you have the majority in the House, it doesn't mean very much at all. It's just a display for the public to see. And to make him look, it is a damn good way to tarnish a guy. I mean, who wants to be the president damn, impeached twice in one term, and he's doing things different this time, where they're not really in a position to just go like they'd like to without discrediting themselves. Last time they just couldn't believe it. They thought the public was going to go with everything and anything they said about Trump. And that didn't turn out to be exactly true. I mean, he won again. That proves that everybody didn't believe all that. But we're at a point right now where, and I'm at a point right now where I really don't care very much about how well the Democrats and Trump get along. I care right now about the position of black people in America and what we need to do to take a step up and to not be blamed anymore for being crabs in a bucket. And not, we're more like fish in a barrel, not crabs in a bucket. We're not cloning, pulling each other down like they say we are. We're in a barrel and we have nowhere to go, so we're easy targets. That's a much more realistic analogy than the damn crabs in a bucket. That's just self-hating bullshit and self-defeating, because it ain't the truth. Like, comment, share. Please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.